Hello there, everybody. Germ here. Just wanted to let you all know, if you want to support the show, if you want to make sure you stay in tune with all the new updates that we got going on, make sure you go and check out my website, kineticaesthetic.net. On that site, you can find a whole bunch of stuff related to the show. You can find a whole bunch of just little blog posts on all my episodes when they drop. You can use that to stay in tune, so make sure you never miss anything that I release. You can also find some merch that I got going on. Right now, I just got some necklaces going on. There's some hot shit. You should go check it out. But if you want to stay in tune, like I said, just make sure you go and check out kineticaesthetic.net. Once again, that is kineticaesthetic.net. This is your boy Germ saying, I appreciate you for doing it. The 1980s are an interesting decade to look at for a lot of different reasons. Whether it be their questionable, colorful sense of fashion, whether it be the different styles that were very popular throughout the decade, the way that they had all the electronic and just, techno-inspired music. There was just so many different things about the 1980s that I love to look at, and it's why it's one of my favorite decades to just sort of study. However, the one subject that I wanted to focus in on this episode of the List of Germ, I wanted to look at my top 5 favorite films to come from this decade and why they were so awesome to me. So, yes, that is right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mr. and Lady. It's your boy Germ, and this is another episode of the List of Germ. And more specifically, this is my top 5 films of the 1980s. So, strap in, tune in, and let's go in and let me tell you what are the best 5 films of the 80s. And if you haven't watched any of these, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to make some time and go check them out. Yo, Germ here. Just want to tell y'all that if you are looking for some new clothing, looking for some new fresh urban wear, you should go and check out my homeboy's creation, his new brand, Stonerville. It's the hottest urban and weed-related clothing that you're going to find. He's got a whole bunch of fresh hoodies outside right now. He's got a whole bunch of fresh shirts in the works. It's just one of the hottest new companies that I've seen this year, and it's only going up from here. So if you have any type of interest in getting some new fresh urban wear and you want something that's fresh, affordable, and just cool to look at, go check out Stonerville brand. You can go check it out online over at stonervillebrand.com. It's created by my friend Juice God. It is the hottest clothes you can find out on the market right now, the hottest new, fresh, black-owned business you can find on the market right now. So go check it out. Number 5. At the bottom of our list, we have the 1983 American crime drama, directed by Brian De Palma and written by Oliver Stone. The movie that most of us know and love, some of us may just at least know of it. I'm talking, of course, about Scarface. Now, this is one of the most famous movies of all time, iconic, legendary even. Al Pacino starring as Tony Montana, just story of a Cuban man who immigrates to America from his country, and he becomes a drug lord. He takes over, he goes through a whole bunch of shit. He has to kill a whole bunch of people. He has to do a whole bunch of just crazy shit, and he ends up being the leader of a drug cartel. And it is one of the most influential movies of all time. You'll hear so many stories about dudes who grew up, who saw this movie, and it pretty much inspired them to just lead a life of crime, who wanted to. And this is especially true in the black community. Unfortunately, you've seen so many dudes who come from the inner city who are just like, you know what? I saw Scarface as a youngin'. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be like him. I wanted to just have that come up, and it's for a good reason. This isn't just a crime movie. This is really just an overall good film. Al Pacino acted his ass off. It wasn't just him in it though. You had Stephen Bauer as Manny, who was his best friend. You've got Michelle Pfeiffer as Alvera, his wife. You just got a whole bunch of people who were just coming into this movie who were acting their asses off. It was nominated for a whole bunch of awards for a good reason. This was literally, it's a crazy movie. It really does tell the underworld American dream that so many people just love to strive for. You start out with nothing, start off impoverished, coming from nothing, and you come up through any means necessary, and you become a success. It is it's one of my favorite movies of the 80s because it really does tell a good story in it, and I do love that it really does show it not only shows you the triumphs, but it shows you the pitfalls. It shows you how you can have all this success when it comes to doing all this dirty work, but eventually it's gonna bite you in the ass. Like Tony Montana doesn't get a happy ending. Everything goes wrong. He loses his best friend. He becomes a drug addict himself, and he ends up getting murdered. So that's why I have Scarface at number 5. It tells an overall story that is just it represents the American dream even to this day. You know, when he falls dead at the end of the movie in front of that statue that says the world is yours, that's something that I always think about. The world can always be yours, but it's going to come at a cost. Either your soul or your just everlasting peace. You're going to have to give something up to just get the entire world at your fingertips. And Scarface is just one of those timeless movies. It doesn't matter what decade you watch it in. You're always going to be able to relate to it. You're always going to be able to understand Tony Montana, especially if you come from nothing. So Scarface, 1983, one of the most iconic films of all time. Definitely, I got that at number 5. Number 4. At the 4th spot, we have Friday the 13th, Part 4, The Final Chapter. This was originally released in 1984, and it was supposed to be the end of the Friday the 13th series, but as we all know, or anyone who follows the series knows, they just couldn't leave well enough alone, and they just continued. But this one is definitely my favorite of the movies that came out in the 80s, just because I feel like it had the best story, it had some of the best kills, and I just loved everything about this movie. This was just one of my favorite ones. I love how they introduced Tommy Jarvis, who they had Corey Feldman playing. It was just a really good movie. Jason is ugly as hell underneath that mask. That's the one takeaway I always remember about this movie. But just the way he just came back from the coroner and he just killed him in the beginning. This was the beginning, I guess, when Jason really started to do a whole bunch of supernatural stuff. And I just love that. It was an hour and 30 minutes of just nothing but straight just people getting murdered, people getting taken out in the most brutal ways. And that was really, when it comes to horror, that was what the 80s was about. The 80s was really when they started with the whole slasher films. That's when they had Jason, they had Freddy, you had the Texas Chainsaw Massacres that were coming out. They were in their bag in the horror scene at the time. Looking at horror movies now, you just got a whole bunch of just conjurings and all stuff like that, where you just got a whole bunch of supernatural demons and a whole bunch of possessing stuff. Back then, in the 80s, it was literally about, we just got a big killer who's super strong and he's just going to be gutting people. And I don't know why, I sort of feel like I preferred that, and especially during the 80s when it wasn't just gory. Like, I feel like once you got into the early 2000s, it was really just gore, where it stopped even being about, okay, does this movie make sense now? Let's just show a whole bunch of blood and just have a whole bunch of nasty stuff. This was the heyday for me, because I especially me, when I just watch this movie, I still don't even like to watch horror movies by myself for the most part, just because, especially 80s horror movies, because they really just sort of create that atmosphere. Like, you're not afraid of some demon, you're afraid that there's going to be somebody that's just lurking around that's just going to get you. So that is especially what I loved about this movie. Jason was great in this film. Tom Savini did good with the makeup and everything. Tom Savini is a legend. Horror movie legend, just for his special effects that he does. So that guy deserves a lot of credit. But yeah, no, this is definitely my favorite in the series when it comes to everything. I love everything that they did with it. You know, it's one of those movies so where back when it first came out, like a lot of the different slashers that came out, they really didn't give it a lot of credit, thought it was crap. But you look back at it now, this is a really good horror film, especially just compared to what they make now and everything. So big shout out to them. Big shout out to Joseph Zito, who directed it. Big shout out to all the people who helped produce it. This was my favorite Friday the 13th movies. That's why I got it at number 4. Number 3. At number 3, we have School Days, released in 1988, directed by Spike Lee, also with him having a role in it. This is a film all about just the inner workings of relationships between black people. It takes place on a college campus at a historically black college, and it just goes on to discuss a whole bunch of issues that the black community just faces within itself, like colorism, elitism, just a whole bunch of different little aspects of black culture that we really don't like to talk too much about, or at least we don't talk too much about enough. And this was a movie that back then was different to see somebody actually just tackling that in the mainstream, at least from what I've read. So this one is basically telling the story about there's these two groups on college campuses. You got one with a guy named Dapt. He's into politics at this college called Mission College, and he is all about, you know, black empowerment. He's doing protests against apartheid. But you've also got a fraternity called Gamma Phi, where this guy named Julian Dean, he's pretty much the head of the frat, and he is, you know, he's not big into all that type of stuff. He's more big into, you know, hazing and just, you know, flexing. He's a cool dude. You got the cool dude and you got the political activist type. So the movie just goes on to discuss a whole bunch of different little things that go on within the black community. You've got Dap's girlfriend, who's more of a pro-black militant and everything. And then you've also got Dean's girlfriend, who's light-skinned. She's got the straight hair and everything. And it just touches on a lot of things, you know, like the light-skin versus dark-skin debate, the good hair versus the nappy hair, just all those different types of aspects of black, you know, of inner black turmoil that we sort of just deal with. And I always like this movie because it was just really, really just nice to know that they were actually still aware of these issues back then. Of course they were, but it's nice that Spike Lee was just tackling these issues head on, because it's crazy. We still face these issues today. Like, I remember even back in middle school, you had the whole light skin versus dark skin debate going on, which is always weird to me because we're all black. You've got all these different, we fight amongst ourselves so much. And I hate to, and I know we have this thing with black people where we don't like to just sort of publicize our own issues and our own drama, similar to what's happening with the baby, or what was happening with the baby. You've got a lot of people who feel like it's not necessarily a good thing to criticize one of your own too publicly, even when they make a mistake. And this movie just did a lot of good things about talking on that. Like at the end, when Dap just looks directly into the camera, breaks the fourth wall, and just says, "Wake up." That's Spike Lee just telling us all we got to just be aware of this shit, and we got to, you know, not be afraid to speak on it. I think this is the only movie out of all the ones that I'm going to be naming on this list that I have on DVD. I actually have it on DVD. I think my brother was the main one who used to keep it, but I inherited that DVD collection, and this is one of those movies that I'm never going to give up. It's just always fun to watch. You know, it gives you a good idea of what life can be like on a college campus, on a historically black college campus, and just a whole bunch of different other things. I can't remember her name right now, but Gina from Martin, she plays Dean's girlfriend. I love her as an actress. She is very good in whatever role she does. And Spike Lee himself actually does a very good job as an actor. It's just an all-around good movie. Even if you're not black, I think you should watch it. But especially for all my black listeners out there, go check this movie out. This one is a good one. Number 2. Nabbing the second spot on our list is the 1986 film Stand By Me, directed by Rob Reiner. This film is probably, other than maybe one other film, I think that being Dead Presidents, I would say that this is probably my favorite film of all time. This film has just always caught my attention. It's always just been one of those films that sucks me in. It's the ultimate story of just, you know, going from being a boy to becoming just the end of your childhood. You know what I'm saying? It's the story of 4 boys. They are just they're good kids for the most part. They fuck around a lot. They smoke some cigarettes. They do a whole bunch of messed up shit. But they hear about this dead body, this kid that goes missing, and they figure out that they just want to go find his dead body, and they do that. And over the course of their journey of going to go do that, of them camping out, they're all supposed to be over at one friend's house, but they all just they're going on an adventure by themselves, 4 kids. And their adolescence ends for the most part. This is a movie that just it's gritty. It's not hardcore for the most part, but it is a gritty film, and it's based off a Stephen King book so that'll give you an idea of just some of the crazy shit that happens in it. This has always been just the movie that just I can go back to and I can just watch and I'll always be entertained. River Phoenix, rest in peace to him, one of the greatest actors I've ever watched, and he was just a kid when this movie was made. They really got in their bag. You know, for a society, for a culture in America that really that prides itself on, you know, creating tough men, on telling boys, you know, you got to be strong and everything. This is a movie that shows that even at that young age, even when they got all that, especially at that young age, I should say, there's so many different emotions that young men are feeling, that they're going through. We're not always tough. There's a lot of times where we just sort of break down, where we're not up to the task as much as I guess the world thinks that we should be, or how we need to toughen up, and just things like that. Like the scene where River Phoenix, where his character just sort of breaks down, that's always one that sticks me a lot. Just the tragic ending with all four of them, how they all ended up. It's this movie just always just sort of, it gets me a little bit. It's one of those movies, just the scene where they find the body and everything. There's just so many different things. You got the chopper sick balls thing. It's comedy. There's good moments in it. There's funny moments. And there's a lot of just moments that'll just have you like, damn. You know, you got the older kids who are harassing them, who are just looking for them, who threaten to kick their ass and everything. It's a crazy movie. It's a good film. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it. I really think this is one of those films. This is one of those films that where I would recommend everybody to go watch it at least once. Go check out Stand By Me. Go see it. I know Family Guy even did a parody of it. Like, it's Family Guy stamped. So if you haven't seen it yet, go check out Stand By Me. Rest in peace to River Phoenix, great actor. And go check out Stand By Me. Go do that right now. Don't pause this though. Listen for number one. Now, if you're like me and you have sensitive skin that requires that special bit of care, and you need something that's going to work a little bit better than just regular Vaseline or lotion, what you need to do is stop what you're doing, go to Instagram right now, and search up Body Butter. That's BODYBUTTAA. It's made by my homegirl Ashley. It's made using nothing but natural ingredients, and I'm going to tell y'all right now, the shit works like magic. It comes in men's scents and women's scents. She's got Summer Seduction, Vanilla Cocoa, and Baby Powder, and Gentleman's Scents. She's got a whole bunch of summer scents that she's working on right now that are going to be coming out. It's just everything that you can look for in a good alternative to lotion or Vaseline, and it works like a charm. It makes your skin glow, it makes your skin glisten, and it'll last you for a long time. So if you're looking for something that's going to work a little bit better, that's going to make you feel even better, then you need to go and search up Body Butter. Once again, that's BODYBUTTAA. Works like a charm, and honestly, it makes me feel that much better. Coming in at number one, we have one of the greatest anime movies of all time, released in 1988. I, of course, am talking about Akira. This, before I can even say too much about this film, it needs to be said, there's so much more to the movie's story that you can experience if you just read the manga or try to check out just any other adaptation of it other than the movie, because the movie is great. It's like I'm saying, it's the best movie that came out in the 80s in my opinion, but there's so much more to it, and there's so much more nuance and different allegories that are in the story that you're just not going to get just by watching the movie. I had to figure that out because I still watch Akira, and just the fact that I still have yet to read the manga, I know there are things that I don't understand completely or exactly what they were going for. But number one, this is just a movie about powers and about how you can have all the power in the world, but you can't really think that that's going to allow you to control everything, because there's one constant thing in life that I've just figured out. Trying to control everything will just lead to failure. Trying to exert control on everything, on anybody, you're just going to fail in the long run. And that's one of the messages, just one of the messages that you can really take from Akira. It's the story of a boy named Tetsuo. He's part of a biker gang with his friend Kaneda. I always mispronounce his name. Give me 1 second. Yeah. And yeah, I said it right. And this story is pretty much, it's really just, it's the story of a boy who gets all these powers and he just loses himself in the long run. He's got a friend who's trying to save him. You've got a country that's going to shit because of a whole bunch of corruption and just all this other different weird things that are going on. You've got these espers with these magical telekinetic powers. It's just so much. It's really hard to explain and break down this story in just the little short time that I wanted to talk about it. It's something you got to see for yourself. And especially, I'm going to tell you this right now, after you watch the movie, you're going to need to just read something. You're going to need to go read up as many different takes and analysis on the movie that you can, because it's just so much that you can get from it. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that just to repeat what I say about a lot of different movies on here. There's a lot to this movie. That's what makes it number one for me. That's why I love it. It's why I love animated films and just animation more than I love other like live action films. There's so much more you can do with the stories and meanings. There's different things that you can articulate that you just can't with a live action. Just the ending scene with Tetsuo and just him just explaining who he is and how he's transcended everything. It's iconic. The bike, the jacket, all of it. There's just so much different iconic shit in this movie. I really, really think, even if you're not into anime, check this movie out. Check it out. Go watch it. You will definitely not regret it. You'll come to a different understanding. And personally, one of my favorite themes or just messages that I saw from it, and this might spoil a little bit, Tetsuo is a good allegory of Japan, and the movie just tells the story of Tetsuo, who representing Japan, and just how, especially if you watch the beginning, you'll understand it's supposed to be Japan after a world war, and this is after they've been devastated and destroyed. And this is the story of pretty much just, and this is very common in Japan with a lot of their movies and animations and just their culture in general. It's a different country before and after the atom bomb was dropped. And that's all I really want to say. I just want people to watch it for themselves. Akira is one of the greatest films of all time. It's in my top 10, probably my top 5. I haven't thought too hard about that, so I don't want to try to list that. I'll save that for another episode. But yeah, give Akira a chance. Go watch that movie. One of the greatest. That is my top 5 1980s films. It was hard to come down and just whittle down this list, y'all. I really just think there's so many good films that came out during this decade. There's a whole bunch more that I wasn't able to list. My Neighbor Totoro, Coming to America with Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy was in a whole bunch of good ass movies during this decade. Harlem Nights. There's a lot of good films during the 80s that came out. The Breakfast Club. 16 Candles. They were in their bag in the world of cinema during this whole decade. So if you have not watched any of these films, if you haven't watched any of the ones I just named, go check them out. This was one of my favorite decades. If there's a decade I could go visit, it'd probably be this one. Even more so than the 90s. I hate to admit it. But yeah, go check out this movie. Go check out these movies. Go check out all these films. Just go check out 1980s media, because it was really just a special time. But this has been the List of Germ. I'd like to thank you all for listening. Make sure you tune in to the next one. Make sure you keep in tune. Make sure you go check out the website. And just make sure you have a good rest of your day.